Hey Bethlehem, this is Pastor Paul, and we are back from our time in the Black Hills. This last week, Jenny and the kids and I went to Camp Judson near Keystone, South Dakota, for a family camp. And it was a good to get away. It was good to be together as a family, and not only as a family, but also Jenny's parents were there. Jenny's younger sister and her family were there, plus a lot of people that Jenny had friendships with. So it was good to connect with them, to work on those relationships. But also, it gave us an opportunity to pray, to meditate on God's word, just to have some time connecting again with God. And one of the things that I was able to do during this past week was I spoke Wednesday evening, and I spoke on Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Here Paul writes, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." We are seeking to be like Jesus, right? What I've been saying is that we are here to demonstrate God's character. And the only way that we can do that is if we reject the patterns of this world, that we don't let ourselves be conformed to what this world is about. And we seek to do God's will. We seek to know God's will. And that transformation, Paul says, the key to that transformation is the renewing of our mind, of being intentional in what we think about and what we put into our minds. And so if we really want to be transformed, if we really want to bear God's image well in this world, then what we need to do is we need to spend time knowing God's wisdom. And we find God's wisdom in his word. And so we want to spend time reading it and studying it, right? And meditating on it. And so meditating is taking God's word and praying it, thinking about it, imagining what life would be like if we actually did that, applied it to our lives. And we just wrestle with it when we apply it to our lives. I like to liken or compare meditation with eating. So when we eat, we bring in food into our bodies and we chew it and we digest it, and it becomes part of it, part of us. It's the building blocks that we need for life. And in that same way, when we take in the Bible, in God's word, we want to bring it in and we want to chew on it and we want to think about it so that it becomes part of who we are. And that is why meditation is so important. So if we're going to be transformed, if we're going to have our minds renewed, we need to be reading and studying God's word. We need to be meditating on it. We need to be praying it. And then we will see a transformation happen in our lives. These are activities, disciplines that we need to put into our lives so that we can truly become the people that God created us to be. And so the bottom line here is that we are transformed when we are intentional about what we think about and about what we put in our minds. We are transformed when we are intentional about what we think about and what we put into our minds. So I want to just remind you a couple things. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, the 23rd, at 7 o'clock, we will be having a bonfire night at our house. So want to encourage you to be there, to have some community time. Also this week, we will be here at 10:30 for worship, and then also on July 4th, we will be having our worship at 9 o'clock on July 4th. That way that you can participate in the day's activities. So 9 o'clock for worship on July 4th. Hey, Bethlehem, I'm glad that you are part of our church family. Continue to offer up your prayers for us. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless.